Imagine being a powerhouse kingdom like the Federation of the East only to find out you have a 10-year expiration date. The prophecy is grim, claiming that the 5 great sins are coming to tear everything down, and honestly, the vibes are already immaculate for a total disaster. A mysterious patron has stepped up to stop the apocalypse, but even he seems a bit overwhelmed by how fast things are spiraling.
This is not exactly the peaceful life he had in mind when he decided to save the world from total destruction.
Our hero was once a literal corporate slave, grinding out 78-hour weeks in the modern world before he got the ultimate promotion, reincarnating into a fantasy noble. He is trading spreadsheets for status, and he is absolutely not looking back at that wage slave life.
He thinks he has hit the jackpot with this noble gig, but there is one tiny, hilariously embarrassing problem.
Even though he is a high-ranking noble now, he has 0 special powers and can't even read the local language, which is why he is currently staring at a book upside down. His mate has to call him out for holding the book the wrong way, confirming that in this world, he is basically illiterate.
But hey, when you are a pampered young master in accounts family, who needs to read when you can just be useless and enjoy the luxury?
He is fully prepared to live the lazy life of his dreams, getting bathed and fed like a total king.
But the peace is shattered when the maid mentions that his brothers, Leo and Antonio, are coming back tomorrow, and suddenly his blood runs cold.
The name Pallatio hits him like a psychological truck because he finally realizes where he is.
He has been reincarnated into Psychedelia, a turn-based RPG he used to play, and he is currently inhabiting the body of a family that is destined for a very messy end. He remembers that in every single game route, the appearance of the 5 great sins leads to the total downfall of the kingdom. It doesn't matter what choices you make, once wrath, greed, sloth, obsession, and pride show up, it is game over for everyone. These sins are basically walking disasters that turn nobility and cities into rubble.
And our MC realizes he is right in the middle of the blast zone because his new family, the Pallatios, are the absolute worst of the worst.
We are talking about a house of total troublemakers. His eldest brother Leo is basically the king of the underworld's red light district. Antonio is the literal king of drug trafficking. They run an organization called Avalon, making them the primary targets of the game's first subquests. He is stuck as Alan Pallatio, the 3rd son and a total extra villain who exists just to get wrecked by the sins in 10 years. He starts spiraling, wishing he could go back to his 78-hour work weeks because at least those didn't end with him being slaughtered by psycho bosses.
But then he realizes that since he knows the future, he is basically a prophet.
If he wants to keep his luxurious lifestyle, he just needs to find the 5 great sins while they are still harmless kids and reform them before they turn into mass-murdering monsters. 2 months into his master plan, Alan has already been busy. He successfully raided a human testing center disguised as an orphanage and rescued a group of kids, putting a mysterious girl named Yusha in charge of the group to keep things organized.
He even managed to recruit Evan, a knight known in the game for being one of the few characters who actually stays loyal during a betrayal.
Evan is a total pro, but he finds Alan's forced smiles and disconnected expressions a little creepy, to be honest.
Evan is curious about why Alan is so interested in Yusha. Even as a veteran mercenary, Evan could tell she was no ordinary child. She was strong enough to break out of her chains whenever she wanted, yet she chose to stay locked up in that testing center.
Evan asks why they didn't just bring her back to the estate, but Alan cryptically claims it is not the right time.
He is playing the long game, keeping his cards close to his chest because he knows exactly what that girl is capable of if she is triggered. In reality, that little girl is Yusha Bludia, the non-human who eventually signs a contract with an otherworldly being. She is destined to become the sin of wrath and kill hundreds of thousands of people, and Alan is determined to make sure she grows up in total peace instead. Alan hands Evan a letter to deliver to her, claiming it is just for reassurance. He is acting like a generous patron, telling everyone to keep his sponsorship a secret while he secretly high-fives himself for taking care of the world's biggest landmine.
Evan takes the letter, thinking it is a sweet gesture to help a traumatized kid. He doesn't realize Alan is using his meta-knowledge to manipulate the situation, trying to build a bond with a monster before she even realizes she is one.
The letter contains specific quotes Alan remembers from an archbishop in the game.
It is a spell meant to calm a non-human's rage.
In the original story, these words failed to stop her, but Alan gambles that using them now will create a profound, unbreakable connection between them. When Evan finally delivers the message, he is absolutely stunned. He can feel an unbelievable amount of mana radiating from this little girl, realizing she already has the power of a master rank fighter. She is a total fanatic in the making, and Alan is the one pulling the strings. Yusha reads the letter and her expression completely shifts. She sees these mystic phrases as a secret promise that only her master would know. She is ready to accept her role under Alan, and the intensity in her eyes shows that she is already devoted to him.
The future Bloody Queen is officially on his side.
While Alan is back at home celebrating that he has extended his lifespan by checking off his first target, Yusha is manifesting mana like a total psycho under the moonlight.
He is feeling pretty good about himself, thinking the moon is cheering him on while he prepares to hunt down the next sin.
Little does he know, he has just successfully tamed a monster, and things are only going to get crazier from here. We start this mess with our MC, Alan, digging through the library like his life depends on it because, well, it actually does. Finding clues about the third boss is giving him a literal migraine, but before he can find anything useful, his trashy brother Tonio decides to ruin the vibe. Tonio, the literal drug king of the family, starts mocking Alan for pretending to study when everyone knows he is supposedly illiterate. But just as Tonio is getting comfortable being a bully, the heavy hitter enters the room. Enter Leo Pallatio, the eldest son and the prostitution king. He is basically the final boss of toxic siblings, and he is not here for Tonio's noise.
Alan is just sitting there playing the role of the useless little brother, letting them think he is a total pushover.
Leo doesn't even use words to settle things, he just chucks a knife that cracks the wood right next to Tonio's head.
He tells his brother to get lost, because he reeks of drugs, and he is not in the mood to see blood before breakfast.
Talk about a warm family welcome.
Alan watches this dumpster fire of a family, and reminds us that they are all doomed anyway.
They run Avalon, a criminal empire that deals in the worst of the worst, which is why they are the first ones to get wiped out in the game. To survive this circus, Alan's big plan is to just keep acting like a weak, incompetent bastard while his brothers rip each other's throats out over who gets to be the family head. It is a solid strategy when your family is a group of homicidal drug lords. Meanwhile, Evan is out here doing the real heavy lifting. He reports that he successfully rescued the second child Alan pointed out from an illegal slave market.
Evan is internally screaming because he can't figure out how Alan knows about secret human experiments in a completely different country.
This new kid is Deus Michaelian, the future sin of Sloth. In the original game lore, this poor kid was passed around like a used rag and abused so badly that he eventually decided to just delete entire kingdoms from the map. Here is the plot twist: despite being called the sin of Sloth, Deus is actually a total workaholic when it comes to revenge. If he owes you a debt, he repays it tenfold, but if you cross him, he will make sure your end is as graphic as possible. Alan knows the boy is a cataclysmic scale disaster waiting to happen. So, his brilliant move is to tell Evan to treat the boy with extreme kindness. He is basically trying to friendship power his way out of an apocalypse. Instead of keeping Deus at the estate, Alan ships him off to Yusha's orphanage. He figures the kid isn't ready for the main stage yet, and besides, he needs Yusha to keep an eye on his growing collection of future world enders. Alan keeps in touch with Yusha through letters, but he is not writing about grand plans. No, he is telling her mundane gossip, like how his brother literally used him as a human chair today. He is building that rapport one LOL, my family sucks letter at a time. He asks Yusha to look after the slightly sick child he sent, which is a massive understatement for the traumatized Deus. Alan is hoping that growing up in a peaceful orphanage will keep these kids from turning into the sins that ruin his lazy noble life. When Deus arrives at the orphanage, Yusha immediately sees right through him. She can tell he is completely broken and senses the traces of the Black Goat, a dark power that marks him as someone chosen by the Great Moon. Yusha tells the boy that he is special and that if he stays loyal and follows Alan's orders, he will eventually get the revenge he craves. She is basically the head recruiter for Alan's secret cult of mini-bosses. While Alan is busy searching for boss number 3, some shocking news drops. Tonio, the drug king brother, has suddenly died from an accidental fall. Alan is losing it because this wasn't supposed to happen yet. The original plot is officially derailed.
Leo is now the new count, and he is not even trying to hide his joy at the funeral.
He is standing over the coffin looking like he just won the lottery while bringing drugs and women to his own brother's send-off. This family is beyond help. A whole year passes, and the estate gets suspiciously peaceful now that Leo has consolidated all the family's shady businesses. Alan and Yusha are now full-blown pen pals, and she is reporting that the kids are all growing up just fine. Yusha mentions that Deus has taken a liking to puppeteering. It sounds like a cute, innocent hobby for a young boy, right? Wrong. In this world, any hobby a future Sin has is definitely going to involve a body count. Evan finally gets a hit from the Information Guild about an ancient book that could lead Alan to the third boss. Everything seems to be going smoothly for our MC's retirement plan, but things are getting dark on the outskirts. At a drug distribution site called Margot, a literal horror show is unfolding.
The members of Avalon are suddenly losing control of their bodies and are forced to slaughter each other like mindless dolls.
It turns out Deus's puppeteering isn't with wooden dolls, he is using his powers to control human beings. He is watching the carnage from the shadows, treating the massacre as a simple puppet show for his own amusement. The orphans have formed a secret group called the Blue Moon. They believe they are acting as Alan's secret sword, clearing the path for his return. They are purging the scum of the world so that Alan's future kingdom isn't shabby when he finally takes over.
Alan thinks he is successfully raising good kids, but they are actually becoming a high-level hit squad in his name. He is extending his lifespan, but at the cost of creating a group of fanatics who think mass murder is just part of the house cleaning.
The stage is set, the sins are rising, and our weak hero is accidentally building an empire of monsters. They believe they are acting according to Alan's will, purging the world of scum to ensure his future kingdom is not shabbily built. Alan is chilling in his peaceful evening, totally unaware that his friends are out there turning people into meat puppets. He is ready for the next target, but he has no idea how far his little project has already gone. The carnage is complete, and the kids are more convinced than ever that they are doing the Lord's work. 2 whole years have zipped by while our modern-day wage slave has been living his best life as a lazy noble pen pal. Poor Evan just dragged himself back from the field looking like he has been through a literal war while Alan was probably just counting his lucky stars in the backyard. Evan finally drops the news that the 5th and final future disaster child has been successfully delivered to the orphanage. Alan has officially completed his collection of future world enders, and he is acting like he just finished a chores list instead of preventing the apocalypse. Alan is out here bribing his legendary knight with colorful macarons because that is apparently the price for kidnapping future bosses. He admits that tracking down the sin of greed was a total headache, but having a cheat code like game knowledge makes the impossible look like a side quest. RMC tells Evan to go take a long overdue nap because the recruitment phase of his survival plan is officially done.
Evan asks if he is happy, and while Alan claims he is smiling, his face is still stuck in that corporate drone trying to act human mode. Alan attempts a smile that is so forced it practically hurts to look at, but he is internally celebrating the fact that things are going way too well.
He never expected to save all the sins before the world started burning, yet here we are, playing house with monsters.
He starts reflecting on the lore, reminding us that these 5 bosses were only villains because their original pasts were a literal horror show.
He was genuinely terrified he would rescue them after they were already broken beyond repair, but he managed to beat the clock. Alan asks how his broken dolls are doing at Yusha's place, and the report is surprisingly wholesome. Apparently, the atmosphere at the orphanage has finally lightened up, and the kids are actually starting to act like kids instead of hollow shells. He is honestly shocked that Yusha is doing such a good job as a caretaker, figuring she must have a sentimental streak he didn't see in the game. He is convinced she is just a nice girl, which is a hilarious level of denial considering who she is destined to become. Yusha's latest letter says everyone is growing well and specifically tells Alan that he doesn't need to worry about Deus anymore.
Alan is just relieved they are thriving, thinking the power of a good environment has officially saved his lazy noble neck.
Evan asks when the big family reunion is happening, but Alan drops a hard never on that idea. He knows their game personalities are literal nightmares, and even if they are reformed, he is still too scared to actually meet the monsters he is taming. He admits that the brutal process of them turning into sins in the original timeline still haunts him.
Even if they are safe now, he is still terrified of them, which is why he is perfectly happy being the ultimate long-distance sugar daddy to a group of psychos.
Since he can't rely on the kids, Alan decides it is time to actually level up his own stats. Lucky for him, his new body is a literal magic talent cheat code, and he is finally starting to manifest some real mana while Evan watches in total confusion. Evan brings up a mysterious group called Blue Moon that has been hunting down criminal syndicates and even killing nobles. Alan just shrugs it off as some random organization that will vanish soon, totally missing the fact that he is the one they are worshipping as a god. Alan is so focused on his own safety that he tells Evan to sleep right next to his room for extra protection.
Meanwhile, the Blue Moon is out there doing the literal dirty work, preparing to give their weekly report on how much blood they spilled in his name.
We jump to the north where Sealrang, the sin of pride, is busy collecting the heads of slave traders. She is mocking her victims for being too stupid to even identify her before she deletes them from the map, showing she is already a top-tier psycho. Sealrang is obsessed with her great clothes while standing in a pile of melted corpses. Meanwhile, in the south, Rinne, the sin of greed, is finished cleaning up illegal human testing grounds and has zero mercy for anyone left alive. Raiden, the sin of misophobia, is out here turning Avalon members into literal minced meat because he hates things being dirty. These kids aren't just orphans anymore, they are a secret society dedicated to Alan's will, whether he likes it or not. Yusha warns the group that Alan's eldest brother, Leo, is planning to poison him once the count is out of the way. The Blue Moon decides that targeting their greatness is a one-way ticket to the grave, and they are already planning Leo's unfortunate accident. Fast forward another 2 years, and the old count finally kicks the bucket after overdosing on his own supply. Alan is ready to flee to a small town to escape the poison, but his shadow army has already speedrun the revenge plot for him. Alan runs away for 3 days and returns to find himself at yet another funeral, this time for Leo.
His brother was found with the sword through his heart, a death that completely trashes the original game script and leaves Alan wondering who is doing his work for him.
The castle staff are now so terrified of Alan they are literally apologizing for the crime of looking at him. Evan finally pulls him aside to ask the burning question: is Alan the secret genius who made the entire Avalon organization vanish overnight?
Alan is standing there in total shock while the Von Quoc treats him like a legendary mastermind.
He just wanted a peaceful, lazy life, but he has accidentally become the most feared man in the kingdom with a literal shadow empire at his beck and call. Every time Alan moves, the staff bows so low they might hit the floor, convinced he is a ruthless dictator who killed his own family. He is internally screaming that he is a weakling, but the world sees a king of shadows who purged his house in a single weekend.
The sins have officially become his secret sword, and the hierarchy of the family has been completely flipped. Alan is now sitting on a throne built by the monsters he reformed, and he has no idea how deep this rabbit hole really goes. Would you like me to continue with the next chapter of this accidental empire? Flashback to the day Alan decided to ditch his high-stress noble duties for the quiet life in Rodmill. Evan is trying to be the voice of reason, suggesting a big city instead, but Alan is not having it. Rodmill is his hill to die on, or rather, the place where he plans to never die at all. Why Rodmill? Because our metagaming genius knows it has absolutely zero connection to the original plot. It is the ultimate blind spot for every disaster destined to wreck the kingdom, and stopping the world from ruin means he finally earns a nap that lasts a decade. He is dead set on saving those 5 world-enders just so he can be useless in peace.
Evan is starting to realize he can't fool this kid anymore. Alan only gets this serious when he is trying to avoid doing any actual work.
Everything has a reason, but for Alan, that reason is usually I want to eat toast and do nothing. He is practically skipping toward his retirement, unaware that his departure is about to trigger a bloodbath back home.
Meanwhile, Big Brother Leo is watching from the balcony like a total creep, wondering if he should just end Alan right now.
He admits he was going to poison the kid anyway, but figures he can let him go since he is heading to the border. Talk about sibling of the year. Even though he lets the carriage leave, Leo has that nagging feeling in his gut. He just can't stand Alan's existence. He calls over his subordinate, Alman, and tells him to follow the carriage, likely planning to tie up that loose end later. Here is where things get wild. Alman, the guy who has been a silent doorstop for years, actually opens his mouth to ask if Leo wants the young master dead. Leo is shook. This is not the NPC behavior he signed up for. Twist alert. Alman isn't Alman, he is actually Haydn, a high-ranking fanatic from the Blue Moon. He has been deep cover for 2 whole years, waiting for Leo to slip up and show his murderous intent so he could justify a little cleaning service. Haydn drops the act and Leo's jaw along with it.
He explains that the blue moon is the literal sword of the great moon, and they have full authority to delete anyone who even thinks about hurting Alan.
Leo tries to act tough, but Haydn is already mid-swing. Haydn mocks the dying drug lord, saying he likes playing war and that the last 2 years of acting like a servant were actually fun. But now that Leo's true colors are out, his life subscription has officially been cancelled by the Order of the Blue Moon. With one final strike, the king of prostitutes is history. Haydn declares that Avalon is going to vanish from the face of the earth, and he didn't even break a sweat. This kid is a certified savage, and he is doing it all for a master who is currently obsessed with breakfast. Haydn is disappointed it took 2 years for Leo to give him an excuse, but now the road to hell is wide open for the rest of Avalon.
While the underworld is burning, Alan is in Rodmill thinking he is living in a filler arc.
Rodmill is literal heaven for our MC. He is waking up late, eating whatever he wants, and living that peak noble life. He is even considering opening a toast stand because his morning snacks are just that good. This guy is the definition of blissfully unaware. His 4-day vacation hits a brick wall when a letter arrives. It is short, sweet, and absolutely terrifying. Leo is dead, and the family wants Alan back at the estate immediately. So much for that toast stand empire. Alan rolls back into the Pallatio estate and the vibe is different.
The servants are literally vibrating with fear, and Evan is looking at him like he just grew a second head.
Everyone is wondering when the young master became a cold-blooded shadow leader.
Alan is internally screaming, trying to figure out why everyone thinks he is the villain.
From an outsider's perspective, he left with the perfect alibi just before his brother got shanked. He looks like the ultimate chess player who just cleared the board. Evan points out that with Leo gone and Avalon destroyed, Alan is the only one left to inherit the throne. He has the perfect alibi and the most to gain, making him the prime suspect for the most calculated power move in history.
Alan is processing the fact that the world thinks he led an assassination on a swordmaster. He is clutching his head, wondering where he even starts explaining that he was just eating bread, while his brother was getting turned into a kebab.
He tries to pin it on the Blue Moon, but Evan says the Information Guild cleared them because they didn't leave a calling card. Alan dismisses the group as weaklings who aren't even relevant to the game's original timeline. Oh, the irony is delicious. While Alan is calling his own secret army weaklings, Haydn is back at base reporting a successful mission. It turns out they didn't just kill Leo, they slaughtered 486 Avalon soldiers in 5 days. The massive criminal empire didn't just fall, it was turned to literal dust. The orphans Alan reformed have become a high-tier hit squad that would make the game's actual bosses look like toddlers. They are out here purging the world to make sure the place isn't shabby when Alan finally takes his seat as the King of Shadows. Yusha is the one running this show, and she is terrifyingly efficient. She learns that the Altia dukedom is deeply connected to the corruption and orders her team to handle it quietly. This isn't childcare, it is a hostile takeover of the entire kingdom. In just 5 days, they have wiped out the biggest threat to Alan's life.
The children believe they are fulfilling his grand design, while Alan is probably still wondering if there is any jam left for his toast.
The gap between his plan and reality is a literal canyon of corpses. The Blue Moon cult is only getting stronger, and their devotion to the Great Moon is borderline psychotic.
Alan has accidentally built a dictatorship of monsters who think mass murder is the best way to show their appreciation.
Good luck retiring from this one, young master.
Yusha is out here running the Blue Moon like a total shadow CEO, making sure the Information Guild keeps their mouths shut about the recent bloodbath.
She is not playing around, reminding her crew that they are nothing but tools, swords that don't think, just swing.
If they disappoint her Great Moon, it is basically game over. Even with all that god-tier mana, Yusha is low-key spiraling. She is terrified that Alan will find out they have been doing some unsanctioned house cleaning and turned the criminal underworld into a graveyard. The anxiety is real when you are secretly murdering people in the name of a guy who just wants to eat toast. Back at the estate, Alan is living his absolute nightmare, actual work. He has been buried under a literal mountain of paperwork for a month straight. Turns out, killing off your drug lord brothers early means someone actually has to manage the family business, and that someone is him. R.I.P. to the lazy noble dream. He is staring at the calendar, realizing the game's timeline is officially trashed because Leo decided to die 6 years ahead of schedule. Meanwhile, the castle staff have turned into Olympic-level workers. They are moving so fast it is blurring because they are convinced Alan will execute them if they even blink wrong.
Our oblivious MC actually thinks his employees have found their professional passion.
He is out here praising their sudden burst of productivity while they are internally writing their wills.
It is the ultimate toxic workplace, but Alan is just happy the hallway is shiny.
To escape the boredom of being a functional adult, Alan dives into his hobby, poison craft. He manages to hit the second tier in just 2 years of self-study, which is basically a world record. Evan is just standing there in shock because normal people need 4 years and a degree to reach that level.
Alan is feeling himself, thinking he has got decent mana control, until he does a physical checkup on his own body.
He finds out he has a mana haul the size of a thimble. It doesn't matter how hard he grinds, he is never going to be a high-level mage. He has got the talent of a god in the body of a battery-powered toy. Just as he is about to crawl into a hole and give up on life, a shiny gold invitation arrives. It is a social ball in the southern Asteria kingdom. Alan's eyes light up because he sees this as his big chance to network, make friends, and finally secure that stable, quiet future he has been simping for since day one. He rolls up to the ball ready to be the life of the party, but the second he steps inside, the vibe dies. The other aristocrats aren't just ignoring him, they are literally fleeing for their lives. His mere presence has turned a prestigious ball into a scene from a horror movie.
Alan tries to use his practiced social smile while talking about vintage wine, but he is still stuck with that creepy forced expression.
The nobles don't hear a wine recommendation, they hear a threat to harvest their souls. He is out here trying to be a sommelier and everyone else is seeing a grim reaper. The misunderstanding gets even worse. He is just trying to make small talk about regional exports, but the guests interpret it as, "Give me your best stuff or I delete your lineage." Before he knows it, he has inadvertently blackmailed the entire room into promising him limited edition goods. Evan is just standing in the corner watching the tribute pile up. Luxury horses, rare citrus teas, expensive metalwork, it is a literal loot drop. Alan is just confused why everyone is being so generous while they are shaking like leaves. He is basically the world's most successful accidental pirate. Finally, the realization hits him like a truck.
His reputation as a cold-blooded brother slayer has completely nuked his social prospects.
No one wants to be besties with the guy who allegedly purged his entire family in a single weekend. He is officially the most avoided man in the kingdom. Deeply depressed, Alan heads out to find some fresh air and mourn his social life. But then, the impossible happens, a young woman actually approaches him.
She doesn't run away, she doesn't scream, and she isn't giving him a free horse.
This is already a miracle. She introduces herself as Loria, the third daughter of Duke Altia. Now, the Altias are the major shadow players of the north, basically the mafia of the snowy mountains. Alan is scratching his head because he played every route of the game and this girl was never in the script. The timeline isn't just shifted, it is broken. Loria doesn't waste time with small talk. She looks him dead in the eye and bluntly asks for his help.
She claims she is destined to be assassinated very soon and apparently thinks the monstrous Alan is the only one who can stop it.
Talk about a crazy first date request.
Alan is internally screaming because his peaceful retirement just got another high-stakes side quest.
He is trying to figure out if this girl is a trap or just desperate. Either way, being this scary shadow leader has its perks if it means getting attention from a mysterious duke's daughter. While Loria spills her guts about the northern corruption, Alan is realizing that the Altia dukedom is the same place Yusha and her Blue Moon killers were investigating.
Everything is starting to connect, and it is definitely going to involve a lot more blood than he agreed to.
He laments that his reputation has reached such a peak that a noble lady's first thought when seeing him is "save me from assassins." He has accepted his role as the kingdom's favorite villain, but he is still bitter about his ruined social life.
At least the loot pile from the ball is looking pretty good. The chapter wraps up with Alan standing under the moonlight with Loria, realizing that his lazy life is officially dead and buried.
The blue moon is watching from the shadows, ready to purge anyone Loria mentions, and our hero is just wondering if he can get some of that specialty wine before the next assassination attempt.
We kick things off with Loria, the illegitimate daughter of Duke Altia, literally throwing herself at Alan's feet. She is terrified that her own sisters are about to order a permanent early retirement for her, and she is begging our young master for a shred of his strength. Talk about family drama. If you are not stabbing each other in the back, are you even a noble? Alan is just standing there doing a mental wiki search, realizing Loria didn't even make it past the tutorial in the original game.
She is a tragic extra who was meant to die long ago, and he is wondering why the plot is suddenly throwing ghost characters at him. He is thinking, "I am barely keeping my own head on my shoulders. I do not have time to be a guardian angel for a girl who is not even in the script."
Loria tries to buy his loyalty with half of the Altia family fortune, a literal mountain of gold. But Alan is not biting. He basically tells her to good luck and dips, refusing to be a bodyguard for a doomed heiress when his own survival is already a full-time job. He's got that not my circus, not my monkey's energy turned up to 100.
Alan walks away like a cold-blooded villain, leaving Loria standing there with her useless mountain of gold.
He even wishes her luck in finding a reliable ally. The absolute disrespect. He just wants his peaceful, lazy life, and this girl is just a big fat pile of high-stakes trouble he does not want to touch. What Alan doesn't know is that his secret cult of shadow kids is watching the whole drama unfold. The Blue Moon agents are lurking like creepers, judging Loria's soul. They decide she is the only Altia who is not dirtying her hands with Avalon trash, so they might actually let her keep her head for now. Talk about a brutal HR department. While Alan is busy attending a ball, his secret mini-army is working overtime to make sure zero intel about their recent massacres reaches his ears.
They are scrubbing the news like a professional PR team, but with much more blood.
They want their great moon to live in a bubble of blissful ignorance while they stack bodies in the alleyways. Alan walks into the ball and notices people are treating him like a walking biohazard. The room empties wherever he goes, and he is just trying to look friendly while everyone else is seeing a predator picking out his next meal. Poor guy, having an accidentally scary face is a real social handicap in the noble world. Just as the room hits peak awkwardness, a new challenger appears. It is Kalia Zenonia, the Western Kingdom's #1 headache and a legendary shadow player. Alan recognizes her immediately as a source of pure, unadulterated chaos that he definitely wants to avoid. She is basically a walking red flag with max stats. Alan is masterclass in dodging red flags begins.
He is practically tripping over himself trying to avoid Kalia to protect his dream of an easy life. But Kalia is clearly getting a kick out of his panic, noting that the rumors of him being a monster are surprisingly accurate.
Alan does not care about the gossip, he just wants to be in a different zip code. Kalia laughs softly as Alan quickly exits the scene with Evan.
She thinks he is an enigma, but Alan is just a guy trying to avoid a side quest that looks like a death sentence.
He has got bigger fish to fry, and by fish, I mean legendary artifacts that can fix his tiny mana battery problem. Alan and Evan hit the road toward a massive canyon, heading for his true objective.
Meanwhile, his secret shadow army is tailing them, ready to delete any uninvited guests who think they can follow the young master.
It is a literal graveyard for anyone tailing his carriage. The Blue Moon is doing some very aggressive hospitality work. The road to the canyon stays perfectly quiet and corpse-free, at least in Alan's eyes. His secret protectors are taking heads in the shadows, ensuring his peaceful journey stays that way.
He thinks he is just having a nice carriage ride, while his kids are out there doing God's work with a lot of sharp edges.
They finally arrive at the Labyrinth of Whispers. Alan knows this place like the back of his hand because he probably spent dozens of hours clearing it in his past life. He is heading inside to find the one thing that can save his weak noble neck before the world starts burning in 10 years. Alan is breezing through riddles that should take days to solve. He is moving with the confidence of a man who has the walkthrough open in a second tab.
Evan is just standing there wondering if his master has been moonlighting as a dungeon scholar, because this level of cheating is just not natural.
Every room they enter is more dangerous than the last, but Alan is just clicking through the puzzles like he is playing Minesweeper. He is laser-focused on the prize, ignoring the traps that would turn any other noble into a high-class pancake. Evan is starting to feel a bit useless watching his weak master speedrun a legendary labyrinth. Evan is having a full-blown identity crisis. He was trained for battle, but watching his master solve complex mechanisms with a smirk is giving him serious doubts about his role.
He is wondering how a powerless noble can be this god tier at dungeon crawling.
It is like watching a level 1 character one-shot a secret boss. While Alan is solving riddles like a genius, Evan reflects on how Alan's seemingly random missions always lead to insane wins.
He starts believing his master has a literal pact with fate. Or he is just the luckiest guy in history.
Either way, Evan is fully committed to the ride now. No more questions, just vibes. They manage to clear all 8 rooms of the labyrinth, solving puzzles that would make a normal scholar's head explode. Alan is not even sweating, he is just ready for the loot. They finally reach the end of the dungeon where the real game changer is hidden. They walk into the final treasure room and it is literal sensory overload. It is a dragon's hoard overflowing with gold and legendary weapons. Most people would be filling their pockets with gold, but Alan walks right past the mountains of riches like they are trash. He knows what he is really here for. He ignores the gold and the jewels to pick up a simple, unassuming black ring on a pedestal. It is the Oath of Restraint. It looks like a bargain bin accessory, but Alan knows it is the ultimate cheat item for someone with a tiny mana haul. Gold is temporary, but broken power stats are forever. This ring is his ticket to the big leagues. It allows him to bypass his physical limitations at a very steep price. Alan is ready to sign his soul away if it means he can finally stop being a level 1 NPC in a world full of level 99 monsters. Desperate times call for hard mode magic. Just as they are about to leave with the loot, the dungeon's security system finally wakes up. A group of massive rock golems blocks the exit.
These things are tanky, angry, and they do not care about Alan's retirement plan.
It is officially a boss fight moment, and Alan is still technically a low-level mage.
Alan realizes his current second-tier magic is as effective as throwing pebbles at a tank.
He knows he has to invoke the ring's power right now, or his dream of being a lazy noble ends right here under a giant rock fist. It is time to gamble everything on a power he hasn't even tested yet. He enters a magical contract with the ring, accepting the ultimate restriction. Every spell now requires complex hand signs and specific chants. It is basically putting his magic on hard mode, but the power boost is about to be astronomical. He is turning into a literal magic ninja in front of Evan's eyes. A creepy, ancient voice echoes through the room, acknowledging Alan as the heir to the will of a forgotten god. Dark mana starts exploding everywhere as the ring melts into his body. The atmosphere changes from "oh crap, we are dead" to "holy crap, the MC just evolved into a final boss." Alan starts throwing up hand signs like he is auditioning for a ninja anime, mana manifesting in physical form. He looks at the golems with a smirk that says, "You are already dead." He is about to show them that being restrained is actually his new, broken superpower. Stay tuned, because the cleanup is going to be messy. Alan is finally done playing around and it is time to put that shady black ring to the ultimate test. He is standing in front of a literal mountain of rock golems, looking like he is about to drop the hardest magic remix of the century. He kicks things off with refraction and repulsion, moving his hands like a high-tier ninja. The price he paid for this restriction better be worth it, because the air is starting to hum with some seriously illegal-sounding mana. The build-up continues as the entire cavern is flooded with a terrifying blue light. Alan is not just casting a spell, he is basically conducting an orchestra of pure destruction, and the golems are the only ones without a ticket. Here it comes. Line of diffraction officially enters the chat, and it is not here to make friends. This single beam of light is slicing through the stone like a hot knife through butter, proving that Alan's hard mode magic is a total gamebreaker.
The cave is literally screaming as the shockwaves turn everything into rubble.
It is absolute chaos, and for a guy with a tiny mana haul, Alan is causing enough damage to rewrite the entire geography of the dungeon. Once the dust settles, there is nothing left of those golems but very expensive-looking gravel. Alan is just standing there looking cool, while his new contract starts pulsing with a boss energy that would make even a dragon nervous.
Poor Evan is standing there in absolute silence, probably wondering if he should be asking for a massive hazard pay raise.
He has seen a lot in 15 years as a mercenary, but a kid nuking a dungeon with a basic spell? That is new. The veteran merc is legit questioning his own existence right now. He is looking at the weak master he has been protecting and starting to suspect that he has been the one being babysat this whole time. Evan finally snaps out of it and asks if Alan has been sandbagging his true power since day one. He is looking for a logical explanation, but in this world, logic usually gets thrown out the window along with the enemies. Alan hits him with the ultimate troll move by claiming he didn't know it would be this strong. It is the classic accidental genius act, but deep down, he is just as shocked as Evan by how broken his new cheat code really is. RMC starts geeking out over the psychedelia battle system in his head. Back in the day, you could stack hand signs and chants each turn to boost your attack power, and now he is forced to do it for every single blast.
He realized he just stacked chain lightning, with 4 separate chants to create a literal extinction event.
It is a lot of work for a tier 2 mage, but hey, if it gets the job done and keeps him lazy later, he will take the extra effort. Alan notices the magic visuals are becoming way more high def than they ever were in the game.
He is starting to realize that his god-tier mana control is making up for his pathetic pool in the most terrifying way possible.
They finally limp out of the labyrinth, and Evan looks like he has been through 10 years of war in a single afternoon. Alan casually remarks that the dungeon was the work of a legendary guy named Pallatio, as if he is just reading a history book. He reminisces about the game forum days where the devs confirmed Pallatio was the true owner of the Maze of Whisper. To Alan, it is just mid-game trivia, but to anyone else, this is forbidden ancient lore that should be buried 6 feet under.
Little do they know, a secret observer is lurking in the shadows, losing their mind over Alan's casual lore drops.
This spy possesses the ancient library skill and is absolutely shook that some noble kid knows the secrets of the forgotten Alan F. Empire. The observer is processing the fact that Alan knows about Pallatio the Great, the legend who single-handedly stopped the heart-eating black things. This is history that literally doesn't exist in any books, yet Alan is tossing it around like table talk.
The spy realizes that Alan isn't just special. He is a walking historical anomaly.
Between the Bloody Queen following him and this forbidden knowledge, the world is starting to realize that the Great Moon has officially arrived.
The secret phrases Alan whispered aren't even recorded in the most ancient libraries.
He is effectively speaking a dead language that commands the world, and our guy is just wondering if he can finally go home and sleep.
Reports hit the desk about an assassin who tried to tail Alan and met a very twisty end. His head was turned 180 degrees in midair by an invisible force. The Blue Moon team is clearly not playing around when it comes to their master's personal space. The message to the underworld is loud and clear: if you touch the young master, you are going to die in a way that defies physics. The Shadow Cleanup crew is reporting mission success, while Alan remains blissfully unaware of the body count behind him. We shift scenes to the Zenonia estate, where the vibe is chillingly emotionless. It turns out the rumors about this household were actually underselling the horror. There is a new puppet master in town, and she has some very sharp eyes. Kalia Zenonia is revealed to be the true head of the family, and she is playing a very dark game. While the world sees a high society daughter, she is actually the one pulling the strings of the entire Western Shadow realm.
She has secretly turned her own father into a mindless puppet, so she can rule from the shadows without anyone questioning her.
She is the one making the calls while the Count just sits there looking pretty and empty. Kalia is low-key fuming because Alan saw right through her facade the moment they met at the ball. Despite her avoiding social events, he called her famous and looked at her with eyes that suggested he knew her entire secret history. Instead of being scared, Kalia is becoming obsessed with the guy who caught her off guard. She found a message that proves he identified her biggest weakness, and now she is ready to turn this rivalry into something way more intense. Alan just wanted to be lazy, but he has accidentally pulled the deadliest Yandere in the kingdom into his life.
Just when you think you have seen every psycho in this world, Loria Altia reminds us that Alan is the real king of the red flags. She is heading back to her estate, shaking in her boots because she realizes she just made a deal with a guy whose eyes are as cold as a January morning in the north. Loria thought he was her last lifeline, even after he hit her with the ultimate no thanks at the ball.
She is reflecting on how she tried to buy him with a mountain of gold, not realizing that our boy Alan is playing a game where money is just a secondary stat. Let's talk about her siblings, Timalian, Marianne, Keeg, and Pyron. They were the literal definition of toxic family, stripping Loria of every single asset and power she had until she was left with absolutely zero.
They probably thought they won the inheritance war, but they forgot about the wild card in the corner. Loria is kneeling in despair, thinking her father's mercy was the only thing keeping her alive.
She is waiting for the inevitable hit, but as she pulls up to the mansion, the vibe is way more haunted house than welcome home. Then the staff drops a bomb that would make any investigator's head spin. Keeg and Pyron have suddenly taken their own lives. Yeah, sure, two power-hungry nobles just decided to quit the game at the exact same time. If you believe that, I have got a bridge to sell you. Loria isn't stupid, she knows these people would rather stab their own mothers than a vein in their own arm.
She is wondering what happened to the big hitters Timalian and Marianne, and the answer is exactly what you think.
Surprise! Timalian and Marianne have been successfully eliminated too. One minute they are the masters of the north, and the next they are just decorative additions to the floorboards. The board has been cleared, and Loria is the only one left standing.
She finally connects the dots and realizes Alan was the ultimate shadow mastermind.
He hid his claws, waited for the perfect microsecond, and then nuked her entire family while he was casually sipping wine at a ball. That is what we call efficient management. Becoming the sole successor overnight should be a dream, but for Loria, it feels like she just signed a contract with a monstrous devil. She is looking at the path ahead and realizing there is zero chance of a refund on this deal. She knows exactly what happens to people who try to betray him. The precedents are messy, violent, and very permanent. She is officially on Team Great Moon, whether she likes the dental plan or not. Alan's reputation as the guy who waits to seize power is now set in stone. Loria is processing her new reality, accepting that she is now just a piece on a much larger chessboard controlled by the distinguished one of the underworld. 2 months later, Alan is just chilling when a messenger rolls up with a bottle of Cernat's wine. This isn't your grocery store stuff, we are talking thousands of gold per bottle.
It is a thank you gift from the new Duke, and Alan is wondering if he should have asked for 2 bottles. Alan realizes that the shy Loria is now the Duke of Altia. He has got a tiny bit of a guilty conscience because he thinks he didn't help her, completely oblivious to the fact that his secret army basically did a speedrun of her revenge plot.
Loria is back at her desk, working the same office she couldn't even enter before. She is convinced Alan needs the Altia name to manipulate the political stage from the shadows, and she is just waiting for the phone to ring so she can start her shift as his puppet. While she builds her power to match the monstrous Alan, he is at home having a midlife crisis at age 18. He has been addressed as the Count for months now, and his dream of retiring to a villa in Rodmill to eat toast is officially dead and buried. He laments how the butterfly effect has trashed the original game script. He intervened a little too hard, and now he is stuck with a job instead of a vacation. It is the ultimate corporate trap. You do a good job saving the world, and they reward you with more work. But hey, at least he is maximizing the perks of being a noble while he waits for the next disaster. He receives a wholesome letter from Yusha about how the kids are doing, and honestly, the updates are kind of adorable if you forget they are future world enders. Deus, the future son of Sloth, has become a literal professional at puppet shows. I guess controlling people like marionettes is a transferable skill.
Alan thinks it is a cute hobby, totally missing the irony of a puppet master being good at puppets.
Sealrang is out here playing games with friends, while Rina is a bookworm and Raiden is obsessed with his garden.
Alan is feeling like a proud dad, thinking that since he stopped their trauma, they will never awaken as the 5 deadly sins.
Oh, buddy, the denial is strong with this one. He decides it is finally time to let them leave the orphanage and enter society. He figures they are all grown up and healthy, so what could possibly go wrong? It is not like he is releasing 5 biological weapons into the capital, right? Alan reflects on their talents, faith, swordsmanship, and combat. He has got a perfect plan for them to use these gifts in the right fields. He is basically their talent agent now, setting them up for success while secretly hoping for a return on his investment. He starts writing individual letters and preparing customized gifts for each of them. He is acting all sentimental, but we all know he is just securing his future bodyguard squad. If they become huge in society, he can finally go back to being a lazy bum. The orders finally arrive at the base, and you can practically feel the hype in the air. The children receive their individual assignments and gifts, signaling that the rehearsal is over and the real performance is about to begin. Yusha and the rest of the gang are looking at their letters with that special kind of devotion that only a cult leader's followers have. They are ready to show the world exactly what Alan's upbringing has done to them. Alan is back at his desk, sighing about the paperwork, completely unaware that his good kids are about to turn the kingdom's social scene into a tactical war zone.
He thinks he is sending them to work. They think they are going on a holy crusade.
The 5 deadly sins are officially entering the wider world under the banner of the Great Moon. Alan is just hoping for a peaceful life, but he has accidentally unleashed a squad of monsters that would make a demon king blush. Good luck with retirement, Count. With the ultimate turning point because the sweet little orphans Alan rescued just got their first individual orders. These kids are vibrating with excitement like they just won the lottery, but really, they are just ready to go out and break the world for their patron. Yusha finally gives them the green light to read the previous letters properly, revealing that Alan's casual check-ins are actually high-level codes. Everyone else saw boring small talk about the weather, but these mini-bosses see a complex manual for world domination.
The group is losing their minds over how brilliant Alan is for disguising his commands as daily chatter to avoid any pesky information leaks. They are convinced he is a tactical genius protecting their secret identities, while he is probably just wondering if they like his stationery.
Deployment time. The kids are getting shipped off to the most powerful nations on the map, with Deus heading to the Night Kingdom of Caliban and Yusha taking her talents to Rosario. It is like a study abroad program, but with a much higher probability of military coups. Before they split up, Yusha drops the most important rule: never, and I mean never, mention the name Blue Moon to their master. If he doesn't bring it up, they stay silent. It is the ultimate secret club where even the boss isn't supposed to know he is the boss.
They take a silent vow to be Alan's shadows, acting on his will without ever letting him see the blood on their hands.
These kids have more loyalty in their pinky fingers than most manhwa villains have in their entire family trees. 3 months later, our favorite oblivious MC is back at it with his magic experiments, still trying to make sense of the timeline. He is sweating over the details because the game he knew is basically a suggestion at this point, and he is the one holding the eraser. Alan is noticing that the butterfly effect is hitting hard, especially with Loria Altia.
This girl didn't even have a speaking role in the original story, but now she is expanding her influence in the underworld at a speed that would make a speedrunner cry.
He starts connecting the dots between her rise and his brother's sudden early checkout, and honestly, it scares him.
He realizes that digging too deep into the secret organization might lead to him finding a permanent spot in the family cemetery.
So, what does our hero do? He chooses the path of intentional ignorance. He figures as long as he stays in his lane and doesn't poke the shadow groups, they won't have a reason to delete him from the script. Ignorance isn't just bliss, it is a survival strategy. But the world won't let him rest for long because news arrives from Caliban. Deus has been appointed as a knight and has already founded his own personal order. This kid is out here building an army while Alan is still figuring out how to balance his checkbook. Everyone is hailing Deus as a once-in-a-century talent, predicting he will be a master knight in 10 years.
Alan is just blinking at the report, probably wondering if they are talking about the same broken boy he picked up from the slave market.
Deus doesn't need 10 years. In just 6 months, he officially hits the rank of Sword Master. He is now the 5th Master Knight of Caliban, breaking every power scaling rule in the book and making the game's legends look like total amateurs. Alan is completely baffled because even the legendary Reinhardt took decades to hit that level.
He is starting to realize that the reformed kids are turning into absolute units that would make the original 5 deadly sins look like fluffy kittens.
He feels a little slighted that he hasn't received a single thank you letter yet.
I mean, he saved their lives and gave them a future, and he can't even get a happy birthday card?
The entitlement of these world-ending prodigies is truly something else. But at the end of the day, Alan is just relieved they haven't turned into mass murderers yet.
He reads Yusha's latest update about their hobbies, puppet shows, gardening and reading, and thinks everything is perfectly normal and wholesome.
Shifting back to Caliban, we see Deus as the illustrious captain of the Solar Eclipse Knights.
He is looking sharp in his armor, but he hasn't forgotten the day he was just a broken boy consumed by rage against the black things.
Deus reminisces about his time working in the shadows for the Blue Moon, carrying out dangerous missions to clear the way for his master. He lived for the hunt until he received a letter that changed everything, a personal order to visit a small hotel in the south.
He thought it was just another target, but Alan's letter promised a gift waiting for him there.
Deus arrived at the hotel expecting a weapon or a scroll, but what he found was something no amount of mana or gold could ever buy. To his absolute shock, Deus found his long-lost family sitting there, alive and well. He is staring at them like he is seeing ghosts, realizing that while he was busy sharpening his sword, Alan was busy pulling off a literal miracle. The reunion is a total tearjerker.
Deus realizes that Alan didn't just give him power, he gave him back his heart.
This is why he doesn't send thank you letters, words are too cheap for a debt that massive. Deus making a final, terrifying vow. If Alan gave him his family back, then Deus will give Alan the entire world on a silver platter. The sin of Sloth is officially the master's most devoted executioner, and the hype is through the roof. Deus getting hit by an emotional truck because his little sister, Silly, is actually alive.
He spent years thinking she was a ghost, but here she is, asking him what happened after they were separated.
This is peak anime reunion vibes, and honestly, we are all here for the tears.
Silly drops the darkest lore ever, describing how she sat in the pitch-black void waiting for her turn to be killed. Imagine being a kid and having a literal countdown to your own execution. This world is truly messed up, and the black things are officially the worst. She reveals that just as it was her time to be slaughtered, a miracle happened. She managed to find a sliver of light and escape the darkness, surviving against all odds while everyone else in that hole likely didn't make it out. Survival was just the beginning because she was almost sold to a slave merchant before our favorite knight, Evan, swooped in and saved her. It turns out Alan's boring missions for Evan were actually a top-tier rescue operation for Deus's family. Silly explains that she has been living under the protection of the Pallatio name this whole time. She has even been getting expensive medicine from a mysterious sponsor to keep her healthy. Alan isn't just a patron, he is basically a secret billionaire philanthropist with a dark aesthetic. Deus reads the personal letter Alan sent him and his jaw hits the floor.
He realizes that Alan knew about his family's secrets from the very start.
While Deus was busy being an edgy orphan, Alan was playing 4D chess to keep his sister safe.
Deus starts questioning everything, wondering how the Great Moon could possibly know things that even Yusha missed.
Yusha only sensed the dark power of the Black Lamb within him, but Alan saw the actual human being underneath all that trauma.
All those confusing, cryptic things Alan said in the past finally start making sense. Deus realizes those weren't just random ramblings, They were specific breadcrumbs left to guide a lonely kid toward a future that didn't involve a total mental breakdown.
Our boy Deus is feeling all the guilt now. He was consumed by hatred and a lust for revenge, but Alan chose to meet that darkness with mercy and generosity. It is the ultimate kill them with kindness strategy, and it worked like a charm. He finally gets why Yusha is such a fanatical follower. When a guy gives you your life and your family back, you don't just say thanks, you sign your soul over to his cause. Deus is officially joining the Alan Protection Squad and he is bringing his sword with him. Determined to pay back this massive debt, Deus swears to hit the pinnacle of the kingdom as a master knight. He is not just doing it for personal glory anymore, he is doing it so his master has the strongest shield in existence. We see Deus leading the Solar Eclipse Knights on a massive expedition against the barbarians. He views this entire war as just a warm-up, a stepping stone to bring honor to the Pallatio name. If you are a barbarian in his way, I suggest you start running.
Meanwhile, back at the estate, Alan is living his best life, thinking about how his rescue projects are all grown up and moved out.
He has got that empty nest syndrome, but for future world destroyers. He is just glad they are all being productive members of society. Alan takes a moment to roast his own cursive handwriting, claiming it is so bad he needs to focus on being more legible. Imagine being the secret ruler of a shadow empire but your biggest struggle is making sure people can read your shopping list. He dives back into his research on the magical phrases he brought back from the labyrinth. He is nerd-sniped by the mechanics, trying to figure out how these ancient words actually function in the real world versus the game. His notes explain that refraction is for range, while repulsion changes the projectile shape. It is basically like having a mod menu for reality, and Alan is trying to figure out the best settings for his low mana build. He discovers that blue light is the ultimate battery for lightning magic, and a line of diffraction adds that sweet critical penetration. He is essentially building a magical sniper rifle while everyone else is still throwing rocks. Alan sets some ground rules for these power-ups: no repeats, no mismatches, and a limit of 4 phrases at once. It is magic for dummies but at a god-tier level, and Alan is the only one who has the manual. Because his mana hole is still tiny, he can only test 1 spell per day without passing out. It is a slow, painful process of trial and error, but he takes pride in being the one to rediscover the forgotten hand signs of Babylonia. He decides to test a high-tier combo: fixation, compression, breakdown, and fleeting bloom. He is throwing up hand signs like he is in a 90s hip-hop video, hoping for a tiny spark, but the mana in the air says something much bigger is coming. Little does he know, Kalia Zenonia is watching from the bushes in absolute horror. She sees him performing these legendary sequences and her brain just breaks.
She thinks she is witnessing origin magic, the stuff of myths and legends.
Kalia calculates the power levels and decides Alan must be a 7th circle mage at the very least.
She is convinced she is looking at a legendary monster in human skin. While Alan is just standing there thinking, he finally got a decent spark out of his fingers.
The gap between perception and reality is now a literal ocean. Kalia is terrified of this legendary teenager, while Alan is just worried about his messy handwriting and his 1 spell a day limit.
The Great Moon has successfully gaslit the entire world into thinking he is a god.
Kalia Zenonia walks into the palatial reception room with a mission: figure out Alan's endgame and scope out the secret army keeping him on the throne.
She is used to being the smartest person in the room, but the vibe in this mansion is making her internal alarms scream danger.
Her confidence takes a massive hit when she looks at Biancal.
This guy is a 5th circle mage and a total arrogant prick who usually fears nothing, but right now, he is shivering like a wet cat in a thunderstorm.
He is completely haunted by the magical flex Alan just dropped in the hallway.
Viancal is spiraling, wondering if he really just saw origin magic, the kind of power that basically tells the laws of physics to sit down and shut up.
He can't even look Alan in the eye without his soul trying to exit his body. Alan greets Kalia with all the warmth of a glacier, telling her he won't hold the surprise visit against her, but he is not in the mood for riddles. He is playing the part of the busy noble perfectly, making it clear that clarity is the only currency he accepts in his house. To keep his useless extra disguise alive, Alan claims he is just a low-tier 2nd circle mage. He tries to gaslight them into believing his reality warping display was just a harmless party trick with zero combat use. Nice try, Alan, but nobody is buying your "I am just a weakling" merch anymore. Viankel's survival instinct kicks in and he starts nodding like his life depends on it, agreeing that it was totally a trick while sweating through his robes. His excessive politeness is a total dead giveaway that he is terrified of the weakling sitting across from them. Alan basically tells them to keep their mouths shut about the trick and move on to actual business.
He thinks he has resolved the misunderstanding, but in reality, he just confirmed to everyone that he is a high-level monster who likes to roleplay as a commoner.
As the meeting wraps up, Alan casually suggests that Kalia should go grab coffee with Duchess Altia. He assumes these two high society shadow players will find plenty of gossip to bond over, totally ignoring the fact that he just put two of the most dangerous women in the kingdom in the same room. Once they leave, Alan starts worrying that having a ruined house like the Zenonias hanging around will ruin his aesthetic. He just wants to avoid trouble, but he keeps attracting high-tier disasters like a magnet. He is terrified that if people actually believe he is using origin magic, every meathead warrior in the kingdom will show up at his front door to test their strength. His dream of a peaceful retirement is officially fighting for its life. Outside, Viankel drops the real tea for Kalia, explaining that what Alan did wasn't just origin magic, it was something way more eldritch. He describes how Alan didn't just follow magical laws, he literally tore the canvas of existence into shreds. Viankel explains that Alan fixated lightning and collapsed the very principles of the world to pull off that impossible miracle. He recognizes the power as belonging to a great forgotten god and warns Kalia that investigating Alan any further is a one-way ticket to a shallow grave. Kalia is advised to never, under any circumstances, oppose Count Pallatio.
She realizes with a chill that she is not the predator in this relationship. She is just another pawn in Alan's massive, invisible chess game.
Fast forward 5 months and Evan drops a news bomb that almost makes Alan choke on his tea. Zenonia County and the Altia Duchy have officially formed a mega-alliance in the underworld.
Alan is in a full-blown panic, realizing his casual suggestion just birthed a superpower that could flip the kingdom upside down.
He regrets being so blunt during the meeting and decides to write Kalia a letter through the mercenary guild to try and soften his image.
He is out here doing PR damage control while the rest of the world thinks he is orchestrating a coup.
Alan takes a breather to check on Sealrang, the former sin of pride. To prevent her from going full villain mode, he previously sent her on a scavenger hunt for a hidden treasure that would rewrite her destiny.
He gave her the coordinates to the essence of the Golden Mane tribe, a legendary item that lets her evolve into a great wolf-kin instead of becoming a mindless monster.
He is essentially giving her a character upgrade to keep her on his side. Over in the nation of Desert Colony, Sealrang is celebrating the end of her trial. She is looking stronger than ever and offers her fanatical thanks to the Great Moon for the legendary gift that saved her future. Sealrang explains that the essence has granted her the authority and power of the kings of beastkins. She views Alan as her ultimate god-tier benefactor who saved her from those horrific experiments and gave her the tools for revenge. She vows to become the strongest gladiator in the arena and revive the scattered Golden Mane tribe under the banner of the Blue Moon. Alan just wanted her to be fine, but she is building a literal wolf army in his name. Sealrang is already planning to hunt down the black dragon that killed her parents. She is dedicating her entire future and her newly reborn tribe to the Great Moon, proving once again that Alan is the world's most successful accidental cult leader. Sealrang is not just surviving in the desert colony, she is thriving as a literal goddess of the arena.
She looks back at the days she was a lab rat for those sick experiments and realizes that Alan didn't just give her a gift. He gave her a second life with the power of a king.
She has finally mastered the essence of the Golden Mane, and the transformation is terrifying. She has the authority to command every beastkin in sight, and she has already started gathering the scattered remnants of her tribe. If you see a wolf pack wearing blue moon colors, just know you are already in trouble. Sealrang's eyes are locked on the horizon, specifically on the black dragon that took everything from her. She is training to be the ultimate gladiator, but not for the crowd's applause, she is doing it to become the sharpest blade in Alan's arsenal. She knows her master is watching from the east, and she refused to let him down.
Sealrang making a blood oath to the Great Moon. While Alan is back at home panicking over his handwriting and accidental alliances, his pride is building a literal empire of monsters in the desert.
The Sins are moving into position, and the kingdom has no idea the real storm is just getting started. We kick things off with a progress report on our children who are out there making waves. Sealrang has officially earned the badass alias Golden Flash in the colony. Alan acts like he has heard it somewhere before, which is funny because he is the one who basically wrote her destiny. While Sealrang is thriving, the guild is still double-checking the receipts on Raiden's work in Raxus. Alan doesn't have time to wait around, though. He tells Evan to pack his bags because they are going on a month-long road trip.
Evan is catching feelings because he thinks Alan is looking at him with those eyes again, but Alan is just focused on the destination.
They are ignoring the nearby green magic tower and heading straight for the blue magic tower. Why? Because the green guys are apparently too stuffy for Alan's taste. Alan's true goal is Labyrinth City, a place he remembers from the game as the ultimate level-grinding hellhole. He is looking for a specific item to patch up his pathetic mana pool before things get messy. In the game, players flocked there, but not a single one ever reached the actual end. In this city, being an official magic appraiser is the fast track to being filthy rich. Alan mentions that Rinna is planning to take the exam, but he is low-key stressing that the gift he gave her was too cheap compared to the other kids' presents. Talk about master-level parent guilt. Cut to Larthania, where Rinna is running a secret shop named Murd. She is out here appraising relics for the local lord, acting all mysterious and professional while she identifies a fire relic and upgrades it through a process called imprinting. Rinna is deep in the lore, believing her great moon master is an old pal of the legendary Pallatio.
She used to wonder why a guy who wants to kill black things would make her a professional appraiser, but then she opened her gift and finally got the memo.
The gift is the Eye of the Stalker, an item that lets her speedrun appraisals for any item below a certain mana cap. She is literally sacrificing high-tier relics to feed the item's power, all to prepare for the fight against the Black Wolf. She sees her life as one big sacrifice for Alan's grand plan. Fast forward 3 weeks and Alan finally rolls up to the Blue Magic Tower. He meets the Vice Tower Master, Phinia Krazine, who is a once-in-a-billion-years genius. She hit the 8th circle by age 20, and Alan knows her from the game as a total heavyweight. Alan introduces himself as Count Pallatio, but Phinia is not impressed.
She looks at his tiny mana hole and basically thinks he is a joke.
Alan states his business. He is here to delete the Time Gate, a massive magical anomaly that has been causing a ton of property damage. Phinia is a total skeptic, suspecting that Alan is just trying to fix his brother-killer reputation by doing a bit of community service.
She treats the Time Gate like a Rubik's Cube that no one can solve, and she definitely doesn't think a second circle extra, like Alan is the guy for the job.
Alan is not taking no for an answer. He offers the ultimate wager. If he fails to close the gate, he will hand over his entire family estate to the Magic Tower.
Phinia is like, bet, accepting the oath because she thinks it is free real estate for the tower.
They head to the gate, and Phinia is still roasting him in her head for having zero magical aura.
She thinks he is just a deluded noble about to lose his inheritance, while Evan is probably just standing there waiting for the inevitable fireworks.
Alan steps up and prepares to use his own hand as a medium for ancient magic. The second he starts his sequence, the vibe shifts from funny noble to end-of-the-world omens. Phinia's jaw is already starting to loosen as the mana begins to warp around him. He starts layering the restrictions and chants he learned from the labyrinth, and the air gets thick enough to choke on. Phinia is watching him closely, trying to figure out how a guy with no talent is currently making the world's mana bend to his will. Alan is whispering those forgotten phrases that don't exist in any library, and the Time Gate starts reacting like it has met its boss.
Phinia is starting to sweat because she realizes this isn't normal magic. This is something that plays with the fundamental laws of time itself.
The entire world seemingly stops moving. Phinia is frozen in shock, watching as time itself bows down to Alan's command. She wanted to see his harmless trick, and now she is getting a front-row seat to a miracle. Alan is standing there like a god in a frozen world, totally oblivious to how much he is breaking Phinia's brain. He's just focused on the gate, treating a reality warping event like it is just another chore on his list. The silence is absolute as Alan reaches out to touch the anomaly.
Phinia is screaming internally because what he is doing is physically impossible for an 8th circle mage, let alone a 2nd circle dropout.
With a single gesture, the time gate begins to unravel. The impossible puzzle is being solved by a guy who just wants to go home and take a nap. Phinia is realizing that the rumors about Count Pallatio were actually an understatement. The Magic Tower's elite are going to have a literal heart attack when they find out their most precious anomaly was deleted by a random kid from the east. Alan is just finishing up, ready to collect his prize and get out of the spotlight. Phinia is standing there, eyes wide as saucers, watching Alan's mana pool do things it shouldn't be able to do. She spent her life studying the rules, but Alan is out here with a giant cosmic eraser, ready to smudge the line between possible and myth. The air is vibrating with an energy that hasn't been felt since the era of Forgotten Gods. As Alan continues his complex sequence of hand signs, the blue magic tower begins to groan under the pressure.
Phinia realizes that this isn't just a 2nd circle trick. It's a fundamental collapse of the world's principles.
She wanted to expose a fraud, but she's accidentally discovered a god-tier monster hiding in the body of a lazy noble. The time gate itself seems to be cowering as Alan reaches out his hand, using it as a direct medium for magic that shouldn't exist in any modern textbook. Every magic circle in the area is being forcibly rewritten. It's not just magic anymore, it's a hostile takeover of reality, and Alan is the one holding the keys to the kingdom. Phinia's brain is officially fried. She's witnessing an impossible miracle that would take decades for an 8th circle mage to even conceive, let alone execute. The world has stopped moving, and in that absolute silence, Alan is the only one who still has the power to act. The genius Vice Master is now just another witness to his accidental greatness. The chapter wraps up with the time gate beginning to unravel under Alan's touch. Our hero is just focused on finishing the job so he can go back to being useless, completely oblivious to the fact that he's just sent a shockwave through the entire magical world. The Legend of the Great Moon just got a massive update, and the Blue Magic Tower is about to have its worst day ever. Phinia, the Vice Tower Master, realizing she's in way over her head as she finds herself completely paralyzed. Time itself seems to have taken a coffee break just because Alan decided to flex his magic, leaving one of the kingdom's top mages feeling like a literal statue. Her eye of observation kicks in automatically, trying to make sense of the unknown power swirling around Alan. But instead of an explanation, she's hit with a wave of existential dread that would make a philosopher quit their job.
As the eye tries to peel back the layers of Alan's power, Phinia realizes that this level of enlightenment isn't a gift. It's a literal poison.
She's looking at the truth of the universe and it's screaming back at her to look away before her brain melts. She's screaming at herself to stop thinking, realizing that knowing too much about Alan's grand mission is a one-way ticket to a predetermined doom. She literally has to lobotomize her own curiosity just to stay sane in his presence. In the absolute, bone-chilling silence, the impossible happens, the time gate is officially closed. Phinia just nods along like a traumatized student, accepting Alan's unspoken demand for silence because she's too terrified to even breathe wrong.
While Phinia is having a spiritual crisis, Alan is over there thinking the whole thing was actually pretty easy.
He used a bunch of random magic sequences as a total bluff to keep the tower mages from figuring out his real cheat codes, and it worked like a charm. Alan reaches into the center of the anomaly and pulls out a specific relic he's been hunting for.
He's out here playing an RPG while everyone else thinks they're in a horror movie, and he's not about to share the walkthrough.
Phinia is left in a state of pure, unadulterated terror, frantically promising to take everything she saw to her grave. She's high-ranking nobility and a magic prodigy, but she's currently pleading with Alan like he's the god of death himself. She begs him to believe that she can keep her mouth shut as he and Evan prepare to dip out of the tower. It's actually kind of pathetic how fast the magic tower's pride crumbled the second Alan stopped playing nice. In a desperate move to stay on his good side, she offers him a set of homemade mana potions that are basically liquid gold. Alan's internal wage slave is doing backflips because he knows just 2 of these bottles could buy a literal mansion. Phinia is so far gone she even suggests making a formal mana oath just to prove her loyalty. She's essentially offering to put a magical leash on herself just so Alan doesn't decide to delete her from existence.
Alan realizes there's a massive misunderstanding happening, but he takes one look at the situation and decides it's impossible to explain.
He just shrugs, accepts the 5 potions, the oath, and the relic, because why fix a mistake that pays this well? The big prize is the Mark of the Corrupted, a crude-looking bracelet that looks like it belongs in a trash can. But looks are deceiving. This thing can absorb and store mana from the atmosphere like a sponge in a bucket.
Alan hits a moment of total burnout when he checks the stats and realizes this support item holds more mana than his actual physical body.
He's basically a low-tier battery hooked up to a nuclear reactor now. He keeps telling himself this is just for research and self-preservation. He's still clinging to the dream of being a lazy master, ignoring the fact that he's currently armed with enough firepower to level a city. Before leaving, he tries one last time to convince Phinia he's just a second circle mage.
She agrees so politely it actually makes his skin crawl, because he knows she's thinking he's a 9th circle monster pretending to be a toddler.
We jump to the Altia ducal house, where the 2 most dangerous women in the kingdom are having a little tea time. Kalia Zenonia and Duchess Loria are comparing notes on Alan and coming to some very scary conclusions. They've decided that Alan's suggestion for them to meet wasn't just a casual remark, it was a calculated power move to bring both their families under his absolute thumb. They're basically forming a I Love Alan fan club, but with more daggers. These 2 powerhouses form a secret alliance, officially acknowledging Alan as their singular leader. Internal power struggles? Irrelevant. The North and West are now essentially Alan's personal playground, and he doesn't even know it. Kalia pulls out a letter from Alan that's supposed to be a simple apology for his bluntness. It's just a "sorry I was rude" note, but these women are reading it like it's a coded message from a dark god. They get to the part where he mentions having few noble friends and their eyes light up with murderous intent. They interpret this as a direct command to go ahead and purge the entire aristocracy because they aren't good enough for his circle. They conclude that Alan's endgame is to dismantle the royalist and aristocratic factions to build a brand new regime with him at the top.
They're already picking out their revolutionary outfits while Alan is probably just thinking about lunch.
While the ladies are plotting a political bloodbath, word reaches the Tower Master about Alan's impossible feat at the Time Gate.
The magical community is in a total state of shock, wondering who this Pallatio kid thinks he is.
Alan back at his estate, completely unaware that he's just triggered a continental upheaval. He's just relaxing and eating sweet potatoes, wishing he could stay home forever. The big boss is back. Selene Micardo, the 8th circle legend and master of the Blue Magic Tower, rolls home expecting to see his favorite headache, the Time Gate, but the portal is officially gone. He is looking around like he walked into the wrong neighborhood because nobody told him the world's most annoying anomaly just packed up and left. Selene finds his star pupil, Phinia, but the vibe check is a total disaster.
This girl usually has arrogance that pierces the sky, making rookies cry for the 77th time, but now she is acting strangely humble and quiet.
It is like seeing a shark start eating seaweed, it just does not make sense.
He used to think she would only learn some modesty once she hit the 7th circle and realized her achievements were pointless, but she is having an early life crisis. He is sweating through his robes wondering if she took too many business trips to the north and finally lost her mind.
The news drops like a psychological bomb. Count Pallatio was the one who closed the gate. Selene is practically vibrating with curiosity, but Phinia is bound by a magical NDA and cannot spill a single drop of tea about Alan's power. She is just nodding along while her master starts simping for the rumors of origin magic. Selene is giving her a head pat because she is so scared she won't even swat his hand away. He is officially fascinated by this count who managed to tame his wildest student. While the high-ranking mages are in a state of shock, the legend of the Great Moon is already growing legs and running. 1 month later, Alan is back at his mansion, acting like the diligent magic nerd he truly is. He is using his new Mark of the Corrupted bracelet to grind his research, discovering a broken rule where similar phrases can create a stacking effect. He has basically found a glitch in reality's code and he is ready to exploit it. Alan tries out a basic second circle gravity spell and accidentally creates a crater that looks like a meteor impact. Evan is just standing there with a face that says, "I didn't sign up for this level of collateral damage." Even for second circle magic, this output is borderline illegal. Alan is in total denial, telling himself he just needs more precision and that it has to be an illusion. He is staring at his research charts like they are going to lie to him, trying to fine-tune the optimal phrase arrangement.
He is essentially a god-tier mage who thinks he is just having a good body condition day.
He is pointing at his graphs like he is presenting a quarterly business report, trying to make sense of the sudden firepower boost. Evan brings in a letter from Yusha just as Alan hits his 3 spell per day limit and heads inside to hide from the sun. Alan starts pondering if he has been cursed or something. He explains the curse logic where you sacrifice yourself for power, but he cannot find anyone from the East to blame for his current OP status. He is desperately looking for any explanation that does not involve him actually being talented. The narrative shifts to the Holy Kingdom of Rosario, specifically the city of Rional. It is a pure white city where people worship the goddess of moon and peace, Chironia. It looks peaceful, but if you have been paying attention, you know that where there is a moon, there is a plot. Enter Sister Yusha, currently role-playing as a humble nun. She is out here greeting Sir Loke and acting like a cinnamon roll. She doesn't even have a holy sash, meaning her rank is technically lower than a paladin, but the way people look at her says otherwise. Despite her low rank, Sir Loke is showing her more respect than most high priests get. He credits her with saving dozens of lives in the villages and basically being a walking miracle worker. Yusha is just smiling and taking the compliments while she slowly pulls everyone into her web. Loke spills his guts, admitting he spent 20 years in despair because he could not feel any divine power. He was ready to give up on his faith until Yusha gave him a little tip that changed his entire life. She told him that if there is something he desires so much, he should try having faith in the moon. He followed her advice for a few days and boom, he miraculously learned how to wield divine power. It is a total miracle, or a very high-level hack.
Loke was terrified he had stepped into heresy, but Yusha's red-eyed smile is very convincing.
She convinces him that since the moon actually exists and you can see it, it is just easier to get what you need from it compared to an invisible god. Loke is now a full-blown believer, claiming that the moon's power resonated perfectly with his holy artifacts.
He is so happy to finally be useful that he doesn't even care if it is heretical.
Yusha is just nodding along like a proud mother of a new cultist. He is thanking her from the bottom of his heart for saving his soul and his career. Yusha is playing the long game, making her followers believe that the moon is just a physical manifestation of the goddess herself. It is the ultimate spiritual bait and switch. Faith comes from invisible belief, she says, but that takes way too long. It is much simpler to worship the giant glowing orb in the sky that actually gives you magic powers on demand. She has basically turned the moon into a giant power outlet for her followers. The scene is dripping with atmosphere as she tells him the moon will always be with him. The purple sky and the glowing crescent moon are the perfect backdrop for this new, slightly terrifying religion. Loke is fully under her thumb now, ready to serve the moon with certainty. Loke bows deep, practically worshipping the ground she walks on. He is so grateful for the enlightenment she provided. Little does he know, she is just grooming him to be part of Alan's future army. Yusha asks him if he'd like to pray together, and the look on her face is pure Yandere Saint energy. She can do this over and over again, converting the entire kingdom one desperate night at a time. A massive crowd has already gathered for the prayer, filling the cathedral with an eerie silence. The scale of this operation is staggering. Yusha isn't just running an orphanage, she is managing a nationwide movement that is about to destabilize the entire church. The scene concludes with a secret prayer dedicated to the great moon. While Alan is at home worrying about his handwriting and poor social status, Yusha Bludia is leading a massive congregation in his name. The Sins have officially become a cult, and our hero is accidentally the god they worship.
We open this mess with the absolute shocker that the sweet little boy Alan saved has turned into the most feared pirate king on the high seas.
While Alan is sitting at his desk moping about lack of mail and reading boring updates on everyday life, Raiden is out there painting the ocean red with the blood of anyone who crossed his family.
Our boy is legit pouting because only Yusha actually sends him regular letters while the other kids have basically left him unread.
He is trying to play it cool by saying it is fine because he is just some random benefactor to them, but that rejected dad energy is hitting hard as he realizes he is probably just some nice guy in their memories.
He tries to find inner peace, telling himself his goal of guiding them onto the right path so they won't destroy the world is already achieved.
He is out here acting like a retired corporate hero, but let's be real, he is just sad he didn't get a thank you note from his future world enders.
He laments that he raised 5 kids but only the eldest one actually acknowledges his hard work. It is the ultimate struggle of being a mysterious patron. You give them a future, and they give you the silent treatment while leaving you to drown in your own paperwork. The pity party is officially over when Evan rolls in and scares the living daylights out of him. Evan has got the latest intel from the Information Guild, and it turns out Alan's little orphans have been very, very busy rewriting the power map of the entire continent. First big bomb on the list is Raiden. Alan asks for the update, but Evan looks like he is about to deliver a death sentence.
The nice kid Alan sent to live a proud, average life has officially become a pirate, and Alan's brain just hit a 404 error because those regular donations apparently just bought the kid a flagship.
But before he can have a full-blown heart attack, we get the Seal Rang update. She has achieved an incredible 32-win streak out of the 100 required to become the legendary Baba Yaga in the colony. This girl isn't just fighting, she is basically treating a deathmatch arena like a tutorial level for beginners. Her progress is absolutely staggering, and she is fast approaching the record of the Lion King himself. For you loreheads, that guy was an absolute overpowered monster who only momentarily joined the player's party. Alan is realizing that instead of reforming her, he basically just gave her a permanent power-up that makes the colony top tiers look like amateurs. Meanwhile, Deus and his Knight Order didn't just win a battle, they successfully executed Kurga of the Snowfield. Kurga wasn't just some random thug, he was one of the 8 legendary barbarian chiefs. Deus is out here doing the kingdom's heavy lifting while Alan is still figuring out his morning tea routine. Alan remembers the game's dark plot where these barbarians would perform rituals to turn into monsters and summon their god, Ultorus. It was supposed to be a world-ending event in the original timeline, but Deus apparently decided to skip the cutscene and go straight for the throat of the barbarian leadership.
Our MC is low-key breathing a sigh of relief because if Deus handles these high-level bosses, Alan never has to leave his comfy estate to face them himself.
It is the ultimate lazy master move, outsource your life or death battles to your adopted kids so you can stay in denial about your own strength. Deus is now officially considered to be on the same martial level as Reinhardt, the legendary first sword of the kingdom. That is like going from a scared slave rescue to a national hero in record time. Alan is trying to act cool, but even he is baffled by how fast his kids are evolving into living myths. Even Rinne is excelling as an elite appraiser at her shop named Murd in Larthania. She is specialized in imprinting black engravings to enhance artifact abilities, making her the go-to tech support for the kingdom's elite.
Alan is feeling like a proud dad, thinking that at least one of his kids is living a normal professional life.
But we have to go back to the real problem, Captain Raiden. He isn't just a pirate, he is the lord of the First Archipelago, which is the biggest and most powerful pirate stronghold in the world. He is basically the pirate king of the West, and Alan's checks were probably paying for the flagship's hull. Alan is having a literal physical breakdown. He is realizing that his reality is starting to mirror those tragic internet posts about unintended consequences he used to laugh at. He never meant for Raiden to enter a life of crime, but his parenting advice has officially backfired into the creation of a maritime criminal empire. He only told Raiden to be a treasure hunter because the kid is a rare sea godkin who is free to move in the water like it is his personal backyard.
He thought he was giving him a stable future salvaging relics, not a most wanted poster and a fleet of cutthroats.
Alan hoped for a promising and stable future, but Raiden took that finding relics advice and added total piracy to the job description.
The master's plan is officially in the dumpster, and the kid he wanted to protect is now a very important figure in the underworld who everyone fears.
Alan is baffled how Raiden managed to eliminate the former captain, Alcride the Red Slayer.
That guy was a superhuman warrior protected by the Heavenly King, basically a mid-game brick wall that Raiden just walked right through to obtain the captain's position. Our Pirate King is clearly not playing by the rules anymore. He admits that sometimes the world doesn't work in his favor, but having a pirate for a son is a pretty bitter pill to swallow.
He is out here having a midlife crisis at age 18 while Evan looks on, probably wondering if he should start looking for a new job with better benefits.
We shift to the maritime city of Raxus to see the carnage for ourselves. Beyond the city's coast lie the 7 paradises of pirates, and Raiden is currently sitting at the top of the biggest one.
It is a city of golden blood, and our average kid is running the whole show from the first archipelago.
The former Captain Alcride used his wealth to buy the Heavenly King's protection, but it wasn't enough to stop Raiden.
The Red Slayer got slaughtered, and Raiden took the seat with a cold gaze that would make a shark shiver. The Sea Godkin is officially the one who defeated him to become the new captain. Captain Raiden is reflecting on the true nature of the Great Moon, admitting he used to just view Alan with simple gratitude. He remembers his past as a vivisection slave before Alan and Yusha saved him, allowing him to awaken his hidden abilities and finally stop being a lab rat for monsters. He remembers the massacre of his clan by the Black Things on a peaceful hidden island that no one even knew about.
He was just a kid when his entire world was turned into a graveyard. And that kind of trauma doesn't just go away. It fuels a very specific kind of hatred that demands blood.
His exhausted parents barely escaped to the continent only to be murdered by damn hunters who sold him into slavery.
Raiden has been carrying that rage like a loaded gun for years, and he is finally ready to pull the trigger on anyone standing in his way of revenge.
He admits he was initially revolted by Alan's order to become a treasure hunter while he was starving for revenge.
He thought his master was telling him to go play in the sand while his parents' killers were still breathing. But he didn't realize that treasure hunting was actually the path to his promised revenge.
He eventually discovered that these great pirates didn't get their power from hard work, they gained it through sacred rituals using the body parts of his kind, the Sea Godkin. Yeah, we are talking about his own people being used as literal ingredients for a power-up.
His rage just went from 0 to nuclear in a single heartbeat.
The ultimate horror hits when he learns those hunters had split his own parents' bodies for these very rituals.
Raiden isn't just a pirate for fun, he is a predator on a holy crusade of vengeance for his lineage, dedicated to fulfilling the will of the Great Moon who pointed him toward the target.
Good luck to the next guy who tries to cross his path because the Sea Godkin is coming for everything they took. Imagine having a boss who knows your deepest, darkest secrets even though you have never said a word.
Raiden is currently having a total existential crisis because he realizes Alan, the legendary Great Moon, somehow knew his entire tragic backstory before they even met.
It is like Alan has the walkthrough for Raiden's life open in another tab, and the level of foresight is honestly terrifying.
Raiden is starting to see the pattern, realizing that his current opportunity for blood-soaked revenge wasn't just luck. It was a promise Alan fulfilled by perfectly arranging every single piece on the board.
Our boy is out here thinking he is the main character of a revenge plot, but he is actually just a high-tier unit in Alan's master strategy.
His enemies might be superhuman warriors wielding the power of the actual sea god, but Raiden isn't sweating it. He is convinced that Alan has already sabotaged their foundation and orchestrated their downfall before the first strike even landed. Talk about having a god-tier carry in your corner. Then we have the ultimate loot drop, the Spectacles of Amdita. These aren't just for show, they allow Raiden to track down powerful relics hidden in the deepest pits of the ocean. Since Raiden is a bit lacking in raw natural force, these relics are his literal cheat codes to level up his combat stats to boss levels. Raiden finally acknowledges that Alan didn't just give him a target, he gave him the literal power to delete it. He is reading Alan's letters like they are sacred scripture, interpreting a check-in as a direct command to take absolute control of the 7 archipelagos. He has gone from a grateful survivor to a fanatical pirate king real quick. What started as a simple vow of loyalty has officially become a guiding light etched into Raiden's heart. He trusts Alan more than he trusts his own shadow, and he is ready to turn the seas into a graveyard just to prove he is a good kid. The devotion is sweet, but also borderline psychotic. 3 months pass and the autumn chill is setting in, but Alan is in a terrible mood. He is forced to attend the biennial grand social gathering of Asteria, and for a guy whose only goal is to be a lazy noble, this is basically his version of hell. Mandatory social obligations are the true final boss of this series.
Alan is internally screaming because he hates these formal events with a passion.
He is dreading every second of the small talk and the stiff collars. He would rather be back home eating bread, but the plot demands he go out and act like a proper count, even if he is just a corporate drone in a fancy suit. To keep things safe from bandits on the road, Alan's carriage teams up with the KRYLD and Adorn families.
It is a logical move for survival, but Alan quickly realizes that bandits would have been much easier to deal with than these arrogant, high-nosed aristocrats.
These nobles start the roast early, mocking Alan and claiming his family finances are in a total dumpster fire. They are whispering that he only got his title through a stroke of blind luck after his brothers accidentally died. The audacity of these NPCs is honestly impressive given who they are talking to. Alan just sits there reflecting on how the Pallatio family built its wealth on the shady underworld business he intentionally dumped.
He is perfectly happy being poor if it means he doesn't have to deal with drugs and prostitution, even if his departure left a massive power vacuum for small-time thugs to fight over.
He is content with his comfortable, quiet life, even if the entire aristocracy now believes the rumor that he is just a lucky man-child.
He is letting them think he is a joke because being a nobody is the best way to avoid being a target.
It is a big brain play, but his ego is definitely taking some hits. The heads of the KRYLD and Adorn families are the worst offenders. Back in the day, they were basically errand boys for the Pallatios, and now they are using this trip to vent all their past humiliation. They are acting like they are the main characters of the carriage, unaware that the guy they are insulting could probably rewrite their existence. Alan is looking at them like they are annoying internet haters, loud, wrong, and not worth the energy to block. He decides to just ignore the verbal attacks and maintain his clueless noble facade while they tire themselves out with their own pettiness. While the nobles are busy being toxic, Alan finds the real treasure of the trip, roasted corn. Evan brought some back from the kitchen, and Alan is currently having a religious experience with a vegetable while the aristocrats continue their high society drama in the background. The vibe shift is immediate as we head to the bitter cold of the north. The Great Klecken, one of the 8 legendary barbarian chiefs, is currently lying face down in the dirt. He has been defeated, and the once mighty leader is now just a broken man in a frozen wasteland. The barbarians are having a total meltdown over their tarnished honor. They are claiming the Knights of Caliban used dirty tricks and protagonist logic to win the duel instead of fighting fair. It is a lot of copium for a group that just got their chief turned into a rug. As Klecken faces his shameful end, a dark, creepy deity's voice starts echoing in his head. The voice isn't here to offer comfort, it is demanding that the chief call out its name to unlock a forbidden power.
The aura is getting real dark, real fast, and the snow is starting to look like blood.
Klecken is desperate enough to listen. He invokes the name of the great god Ultorus, and the atmosphere shifts from grim defeat to impending world boss spawn. The dying barbarian is making a deal with the devil, and the price is definitely going to be his humanity. The deity promises to grant his final, desperate desire. Klecken is about to become the very monster Alan was trying to avoid, and the northern front is about to get incredibly messy. The reformed timeline is starting to fight back with its own nightmare creatures. A pulse of dark energy as the bargain is sealed.
While Alan is busy complaining about social gatherings and enjoying his corn, a world-ending god has officially entered the chat.
The peace was nice while it lasted, but the